A lot of the time I just tell people it's all noise.
So,
I think you drive yourself crazy looking for the next big thing when in front of your eyes over time. That's the real issue. It's a dead market right now.
In today's video, Raoul, the co-founder and CEO of Real Vision, takes over the helm to update us on what's driving global markets, his big picture outlook, and how AI is going to change the way we work.
all these meme coins actually recover quicker. What am I missing here?
I'm not sure. The vagaries of the market. I think a lot of it is that Solana is more of an investment. It's a larger cap token. It takes more to move it. And it's less driven by crazy punters who are the degens who are looking for the next, thing that goes up 50% in a couple of days. So I just think it's a different bunch of participants, really. Because I think I answered your survey as well, and I answered Solana. And I'm long Solana. And I think really the bigger tokens are going to be driven by money coming into the space overall. And then we had the regulatory issues where, people are concerned. What does it mean? Solana and some of the others still have overhangs from FTX days and other stuff, while stuff like Neo doesn't have it. So it's part of that. And a lot of the time I just tell people it's all noise. So, I think you drive yourself crazy looking for the next big thing when in front of your eyes over time. If I look at my screen, Bitcoin's up 82% this year, ETH's up 57%, and Solana's up 70%. The investors, so what you're doing is proper analysis. That needs kind of fresh capital into the space. What we've got is actually churning. People flipping out of NFTs into Pepe, that kind of stuff. But what you're doing is saying, well, if new capital comes into the space, they're going to look for these fundamental proper opportunities. We're just not seeing new capital yet.
What do you think? What is the thesis for new capital coming into the space? Is there light at the end of a tunnel when it comes to new capital coming out there? I mean, you've had Operation Choke Point. You've got Gary Gensler going crazy against all of the tokens and all of the providers and Binance and Coinbase. What's your thesis for new capital actually flowing in here?
So my thesis has been always based on the liquidity cycle and macro. And the liquidity cycle for me bottomed in June last year, which is when ETH bottomed. And then the confirmations came from other liquidity cycles that I used that bottomed in October, November. So I think liquidity rises from now on. And people just want a little bit more macro certainty. The Fed, we're stopping. No, we're not stopping. We're kind of stopping. Maybe we're not. Doesn't help people. But I think capital is soon to come. I think the BlackRock ETF is another way of bringing fresh capital into the space. And so that's the real issue. It's a dead market right now. And it's just us lot moving money around. And until you bring in new people. Now, I have a different view on the US regulations. I kind of don't care. You're in South Africa. I'm in the Cayman Islands. It makes no difference to us. I mean, zero. Yeah, it's not a great look, but, having been in this since 2013, I've gone through this so many times, and everybody feels miserable. I can't believe people still feel miserable now, and the space is up 80% this year, and everyone's still like, oh, it's the end of the world, nobody loves us, everybody hates us, everybody on crypto Twitter's turning on each other, trying to destroy each other. I mean, it's madness, and it's actually boredom that does it while waiting for the cycle to turn. The US stuff, I just think it's noise over time. There will be a regulatory outcome. And I talked about this, I think about maybe a year and a half ago on your show, is these professional negotiators like Gensler. Gensler has the political side, but he's also a negotiator here for where this space is going to get regulated. He's going to start with no, 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 I hate you all. And we're all going to go, we want total freedom to do anything we want. And the answer will be somewhere in the middle. And it depends which side of the middle we go. For
anyone in the US, those are actually securities. I mean, does that not kill Solana in the US, Cardano in the US, any kind of other proof of stake in the United States?
Last time I checked, Tesla was a security.
Do you think that it goes to court? Do you think they get their day in court, or do you think they resolve this before court?
My guess is Congress resolves this first. It's becoming a political issue, and Gensler is under pressure. I think that's why he's approved the BlackRock ETF. We assume he's approved it, which is why everybody's filing, because he's going to say, well, look, Bitcoin, I'm going to throw them a bone and I'm going to give them a Bitcoin ETF and that'll shut them up, because he's under a lot of political pressure now. And so I don't think they want the massive political pressure going into the election. So that's what I think is going on. And I think Congress are going to try and force some sort of ruling. If not, we've got Brad Garlinghouse's case for Ripple that still has to go through. I think there's a decent chance that they will get some more positive outcome. And Coinbase are going to go to, if Congress doesn't change anything, they're going to fight to the bitter end. So that means if you're right and it's a 5-year thing, well, Coinbase are going to list Solana for 5 years.
It's got a $13 billion market cap right now. If there's any player that's actually going to win this, it is Coinbase, because they have $5 billion in cash. They're quite well capitalized. And instead of picking the altcoins, instead of worrying about which ones are securities and not securities, just buy Coinbase. You've got yourself a proxy for every single altcoin that will ever trade in the United States, and possibly beyond. Have you ever considered or looked at buying Coinbase adding it to your portfolio?
Yeah, no, I've got it as part of a basket already. So I completely agree with that thesis. You always want to own the gatekeepers, where people have to pay a toll to access. So the exchanges are always a good bet. So it makes total sense to me. And it's Coinbase is not expensive. I know there's quite a few bears out there who don't like it, think it's going to go bust, blah, blah, blah. The Mark Cohodis of this world.
Yeah, we know.
But I think it's a decent thesis.
What do you think of Binance? I mean, would you buy Binance now? Would you buy the BNB token?
It's not one for me. I don't, there's too much opaqueness around it. It's just not one for me. I think I like Coinbase. The people there, I know the Coinbase people very well. They're super high quality. They've built a great business, got a great institutional business. Even the BlackRock ETF, surprise, surprise, who's the custodian?
Coinbase.
It's a high quality operation. So I think if anybody survives this, it's them. And if anybody flourishes on the other side of this, it's them. Because almost everybody else, all the small exchanges, are being forced out of the US because they don't want to deal with the regulation. Also, I think the world is going to polarize, that the Western world, the predominant player will be Coinbase. Yeah. And in Asia, Latin America, the predominant one will be Binance, and maybe Africa as well. So I think the world's going to split, because, Coinbase is the largest entity in the West to do this, and Binance is the largest entity in the East. It kind of makes sense.
How do you see it? I mean, do you feel the same way? Do you think it was a strategic move by BlackRock?
I think it was a strategic move by Gensler. I think he, as I said, is under political pressure, and he needs to throw a bone to Congress and everybody else to say, I'm not just being objectionable. I am going to allow innovation, but only Bitcoin and only with a massive financial institution. So he's throwing Wall Street a bone, which is this point you're raising about where Larry Fink is in the pecking order. He's throwing Wall Street a bone, and he's politically trying to cover his arse. So yes, I think there's been a secret nod, which is, Larry, if you want to do this, we'd support it. And I'm guessing that a few others have been given the nod, and it's very difficult then not to allow the other Bitcoin ETFs. So net, it's a positive thing.
I don't know, the big flow into Bitcoin, or is this just another one of these, crypto Twitter just blows a narrative completely out of proportion?
I think the reason gold did so well, yes, it did. The reason gold did so well back in when that ETF was launched was the dollar was collapsing. Okay, gold is kind of inverse of the dollar. So yes, therefore the market will obviously invest in a product like that. So it's really a matter of price. Institutions, RAAs, investment advisors won't buy it if the price is not good. It's not like, oh my God, we can now buy Bitcoin. But if the price is going up like it is now, yes, it'll bring much more capital into the space. So all of these guys are sheep. Pretty much everybody in the financial markets are sheep. They're all momentum traders. So if we've got momentum, if the dollar is weakening a bit, and if the BlackRock ETF then comes out, yeah, that's going to attract a lot of capital. If it was 3 months ago and they launched it, it would have attracted nothing. Because, you've seen that with GBTC, the discount is a function of the lack of flows coming into that. And it's just been widening and widening and widening because there's no flow coming into it.